and just say thank you to the team. We're going to do a quick presentation on this topic, and if there's any questions on anything that we're talking about, please feel free to pipe them into chat or hold on after Alex's demo. We're going to be doing a live demo shortly, and hopefully we can get to if there are any questions, hopefully we can get to them. So with that being said, let's get started.
Adam, I apologize. There was a glitch with the recording, so we missed the first like 30 seconds of the demo. Can you please repeat what the demo is about? Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. The demo is going to be about integrating BC Services Card into KeyCloak without storing PII. So with that being said, let's get this kicked off. So over the past few months, our team has been working on a project for Court Services Online e-filing hub. And one of the goals has been to integrate BC Services Card as an identity provider into our stack. After learning about how to fully integrate BCSC into KeyCloak, we found out a major constraint provided to us by JAG. And that would be that we cannot actually store user information into a KeyCloak database. And they weren't comfortable with us doing that, so they asked us to pivot. Our basic KeyCloak setup was actually storing the given name, the given names, and the surname of a user within our scope requests. So this is why they asked us to pivot. So instead of removing BCSC from KeyCloak and using the OIDC querying provided by BCSC, we decided to double down and leverage KeyCloak to its full extent. We're looking to leverage KeyCloak as an authentication and access, or for its authentication and access purposes for inbound users. And the solution that we provided was done by the team in less than a working day. So we came together in less than 24 hours with a solution. So that's a humble brag for our team. High five. Next slide. Here, you can actually see the distilled version of our sequence diagram, okay? We've tried to generalize this for anybody's application that may be looking to integrate our strategy into, whatever their application is doing. So first, the application is going to reach out to KeyCloak, and KeyCloak is going to authenticate against BC Services Card and return an OIDC access token.
Sorry, Adam, can I just... There's a question, just need information. What is PII? If you just want to specify what is PII for the
PII, some basic
personal information.
PII would be first name, last name, social insurance number, possibly an email address, things like that that relate directly to a person that might be, compromising in that kind of nature. Is that a good answer?
Yes, and you can restart from the beginning of the flow, so
okay.
You're not sorry. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this is the distilled sequence diagram. Okay. So a web app will authenticate to KeyCloak and reach out to KeyCloak will reach out on the web app's behalf to BCSC and get an OIDC access token. This token has absolutely no PII in it. Okay, that needs to be understood from the beginning. And then the next call that the web application will make is to KeyCloak again to get a broker token. And you can see on the right-hand side of this slide, in KeyCloak, we enable tokens to be stored, and we set up a client role for broker in order for the KeyCloak or for users to read the tokens. And this is kind of a really integral step in the whole flow here. So this token is then used in the final step here to query user information on BCSC's OIDC user info endpoint. So in our circumstance, our web application is querying for given names and surname. And you can do that based on that broker token. The final thing that I need to mention here is that there are no IDP mappers in KeyCloak at all. Okay, so if we went to our KeyCloak and looked at user X, the only thing that would be stored is the directed identifier. And I'm going to talk about the directed identifier really quickly next. So the directed identifier is the only thing that's stored in KeyCloak with respect to a user. The DID for directed identifier is a sector-specific piece of information that refers to a user. That means if I use our e-filing hub app to authenticate in using BC Services Card, my DID that is issued back to the application for querying purposes is is going to be completely different from a DID that would be issued back again through a different application, say under the Ministry of Health. Okay, so they are completely sector specific, and based on this one fact alone, that means that the DID is not PII. And we did a lot of research into a good definition of what PII is, and given the information that we provided by BC Services Card, we found out that this is actually true. So the one thing that I do want to say before we go on to the live demo here is that we found that this is super, super important, that when you are working with BC Services Card, that you limit the scope of the intended information that you're querying from BC Services Card. So make sure you're limiting your scope. And that's basically it. So at this point, I'm going to hand off to Alex, and he's going to do a quick live demo in Postman with our application. So Alex, the floor's all yours.
Excellent. Thank you, Adam. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Cool. So I'm going to open the app here. Okay, and emulate a user, that would come into our app. So as you can see, I'm getting onto our KeyCloak login page here, and I can log in with either BC ID, BC Services Card. We obviously going to use BC Services Card for that demo. So I'm going to select BC Services Card, and then I'm on the test environment for BC ID. Hopefully that's going to come. Yes. Okay, and I'm going to use my account here, CSO 1, continue, logged in. Okay, so now I'm actually logged in, with that user CSO Rosette 1, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm getting into our application, that is protected with KeyCloak, right? And I'm just going to grab the token now that KeyCloak has issued me, right? So let me grab this. That's over there. Okay, so that's your classic access token that KeyCloak has written you to the application, and using that token, that's I'm going to execute the flow that Adam was showing up in the slide, right? So as you can see, the URL here, I'm going to dev.oidc.gov.bc.ca to my realm, and then what I want, outside of that is a broker token, right? So I'm going to continue my path here to go to broker, and then I specify my broker alias, which is BCSC in our case, and then the token endpoint, right? I'm gonna put the actual token there, send, and this is gonna return me an access token, right? We're going to turn that into JSON. And that access token is the broker access token. So that's the piece that we store in KeyCloak when you log in. Within your session, your broker token is stored. If we go to look at this token, we can see that this token has only access information. It doesn't contain any PI information, and it's just used to access. So the next point is to access the actual IDP OIDC endpoint, which is the user info endpoint. So this time, instead of going to my KeyCloak environment, I'm going straight to the identity provider, which is BCSC, right? And to that user info endpoint, and I'm going to use the token that KeyCloak delivered me, right? And I can send this request, and I'm getting a user access token back. And that user access token is the one, if I put it back there, that contains, the actual attributes, the custom attributes that we are looking for. So for instance, at JAG, we are just using given names and family name. That's the only scope that we are requesting from BC Services Card. So that's what we get. If your scope was different, you will get different custom attributes. But as you can see, I can get those values, right, which correspond to your full name, your family name and your given names. And I can retrieve this value from my identity provider without storing them in KeyCloak. That's the important point. If we go back to KeyCloak, so that's this actual user that I've just used, right? And as you can see, this user is just an ID, right? If we open that user, we only see an ID there, and this ID is the actual DID, the directed identifier that Adam was talking about. So not a single information is stored in your KeyCloak. However, that DID never changes, right? So it always stays the same for the lifetime of your BC Services Card. I don't know what does that mean, what does that represent, but that never changes, right? So I can use that to identify a returning user. So as this user is coming back to my platform, I can identify him as a returning user. Therefore, I can assign him roles, on whatever they can do with whatever access they can have on our different systems. So I can leverage KeyCloak for access, and I can leverage the OIDC endpoints that BC Services Card is providing for retrieving user information. And that's about it. Adam, do you want to conclude?
Yeah, just gonna quickly re-steal the screen here. So just to wrap up, we do have some documentation on our project wiki that outlines like how we set up KeyCloak and the full actual sequence diagram. Like I said, the one that we presented was extremely distilled. So it's basically got all of our information on how to accomplish what we did accomplish. And official documentation is going to be coming soon. We're actually talking with Wes from BCSC in conjunction with OCIO Platform Services, and we're going to be trying to come up with some official documentation for everyone inside BC Gov to digest at some point if they are interested. So with that being said, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thanks, Alex. Thanks to everyone at NTT that's helped us, get this presentation off the ground. And if anyone has any questions, the floor is open, I guess.
Well, we are very close to the end of the sprint review, so if I may ask everybody to post your questions in the chat. This way, we'll make sure that all of them get answered. And I want to thank you again, Alex, Adam, and the JAG NTT Data team for one more contribution to the platform community. Thank you so much for sharing your technical expertise and knowledge and sharing your learnings with the rest of the product teams. I'm sure those of them that have to work with the BC Services Card integration will find it useful. So thank you, Ben, again, for being awesome community members. And I would also like to invite Zorin Samji, the product owner for the BC Services Card self-service. Zorin, would you like to add anything to the demo?
Yeah, so it would be nice if we can also have some integration points, because I know back in the summertime there was a couple tickets that got raised in GitHub related to, I think, your guys' application. So just for awareness, we also have a product for Services Card self-serve ability to be able to get those OIDC ID and secret. So just some cross collaboration, I think, would be great. Good job with what you guys have done, but we also have some sample applications and code that people can take a look at.
Thank you, Zorin. This is why it's important that we communicate and share and bring everybody on the same page. So we would be happy to host another demo from your team at one of our future sprint reviews. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm going to stop recording right now.